That's awesome. Yeah, every time I see the three colors and it just so it's like it's capturing almost. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I know you have a very busy schedule, so we're gonna try and be as focused as possible. So thank you for joining us. I want to start by just kind of getting to know about the brand Panorama India and what it is and how it all began.
So first of all, thank you to you, Janvi. Thank you to you, Navneet, and thank you to you, Aksh, for hosting us and having us here to talk about Panorama India. I am so proud of your show and what you guys are doing. I watch it every week, and I think everything that you guys discuss is so relevant, especially the health and mental wellness and just all those topics. And of course, Navneet, we have special connection with you because of just the cancer journey and having all of it touched a lot of our lives. And what you're doing means a lot to many, many of us because we've all been through that with someone in our family. I'm very excited on behalf of Panorama India to be here today. So firstly, Panorama India is an organization that's 20 years old, 20 plus years old. In fact, this is our 21st year celebrating India Day. Panorama India was established with the Indian Council General as an extension of a cultural arm, an overarching umbrella, so that all the organizations under the South Asian culture came under one umbrella to celebrate together. And that's really been our mandate. We celebrate India Day, we celebrate Republic Day, and we've been doing it successfully. For the last, as you all know, we've been last 4 years, we were Nathan Phillips Square. Prior to that, it was Young and Dundas Square. And then part of that, it was in other places. We've had over 85,000 people that attend India Day in person. And you guys know because last year Cancer Warrior was part of our programming on stage. They did an amazing job. And so this year, of course, came India Day celebration. We finished Republic Day. And as you all know, we all went into the pandemic. And everybody kind of went into lockdown. And we knew India Day was coming up. And we were all very excited about it. But at the same time, our safety was number one. That was our number one thing this year. How do we keep everybody safe? So with the support of the Indian Council General, we said, let's do an online celebration. Now, inside a boardroom, it really means let's plan it the best, largest, right? We did it virtually, the planning. But I can tell you this much. From the time we planned to where we are now, it is unreal, the planning. And of course, we'll talk about all the details with you guys shortly. But I can tell you, we truly proudly can say it'll be the largest online celebration for India Day and the virtual Grand Parade.
I'm gonna mute and unmute just because the echo. But yeah, that's great. I think just finding a way to, obviously this isn't the ideal situation, but with an incredible day like the ones coming up on August 15th, I feel like kind of making the most out of the situation is all we can really do. And I think from the highlights that you've shown us, it's great. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I know last year was awesome. I saw the highlights from it last year. So yeah, this is something that people should really kind of almost learn from in terms of like not letting go of the occasion that we have and kind of adapting to the certain situation that we do have, because oftentimes it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be having 80,000 people live in person.
Well, I'll tell you this much, Janvi, and as we discuss, I will tell you this much about this community, the way they have come through. So the entire program, we have 12 plus hours of programming that is going to be happening. It's starting tonight at 6:30 p.m. every evening, and then 12 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday till 7 p.m. All the programming came from this community. We are only a cog in this wheel of how everything comes together. Over 100 artists are performing over a 2-day period. We have 44 community organizations that have come together, and not only the virtual parade. First time ever, you will see a virtual parade. Everyone's asking, what is it going to be like? What is it? We had a community meeting and we put a challenge to all the community organizations. So what happens is every state has multiple community organizations in Toronto. Okay. And we put a challenge out to them and we said, okay, you have 10 minutes to tell the story of your state. Mm-hmm. You know that there are submissions that where there are over 100 people in an organization who work individually, separately to put together a 10-minute storyline. Wait till you see these submissions. It is the work, every second has been accounted for. They've showcased their state, and it's all created programming. So it's all original. They've created, they've submitted. They're so excited. The artists, to get a group dance separately put to get together and submit. How do you even do
it's
that?
almost like we're taking a step forward in terms of utilizing the technology and resources that we have. Like, I feel like the situation in the pandemic itself has kind of pushed us in the direction of, this technology is there for us to use. Making the most out of it is up to you.
Well, and the greatest thing about, so I look at this as a glass half full. It has been an unbelievable 4 months. I will tell you what I can say. The barriers went away. When you went digital, the barriers went away. Right. So this year, for the first time, you guys are going to see, we used to have one parade marshal every year that would fly from India, we on top of a field. Because the barriers went away, we said, my big thing was there's so many states. And every state is part of somebody, that's made them stand out. So we have multiple parade marshals. It's just a surprise. You have to watch it to see who's the parade marshal of what. We have over 15 Bollywood stars, actors, TV personalities, and sports personalities making appearances throughout the weekend. And some are parade marshals, and some are actually wishing everyone an India Day celebration. You don't get that if the border, if we didn't have this digital. We have submissions from India, which is the minute we went to do an artist call out, we don't even know how people found out. We had submissions coming from India, and we heard from people that we couldn't even believe knew about it. So I believe
the power of technology.
Yes, and what this has done is it's taken Panorama to as we celebrate India Day, as Toronto celebrates India Day. Yeah. It has taken it to a different level. Toronto is now digitally on the map, I hope, to say, wow, do they ever celebrate India Day?
Yeah. And especially with the presence of our community in a country like Canada and especially, in the GTA, and knowing the impact of South Asians it's Toronto in itself, like it's huge. Like you talk in India, it's like, where are you from? I'm from Canada. Oh, you must have a lot of South Asian people there. Well, yes, we do, and we're kind of embracing that.
Well, you don't get 85,000 people show up for India Day if they didn't exist here. So, and I think the other thing Panorama is very proud of, and which is what the rarest thing about why we celebrate as an umbrella arm is, in one day you get to see all of India. You don't see that here anywhere else. People in India will tell us, in India, I don't get to see all of India, but in a 2-day weekend, you will see performances from Gujarat, from Maharashtra, from down south, like all over Punjab. You will see, you have 28 states for the first time digitally we have represented in India Day Parade.
Wow.
Even in our physical parades, and Navneet, you know that because you guys have walked the parade, the maximum we could do is maybe 12 to 17 because of physically organizing. Digitally, that many representations of 28 states. So what we hope you see in the weekend is literally a celebration from all over India in a 2-day period. That's what we're hoping to present.
Amazing, Sumeeta. And I would really love to congratulate Panorama India again for this mind-blowing year. You know what, like mind-blowing, actually we cannot say that it's a mind-blowing year, but I would rather, like you said, that half glass is full. That is my always perception in life, being a survivor, that this COVID year actually has blessed with many things, blessing in disguise. Let's say if we talk about, like, we are all connecting towards our roots, and we are all getting together under now the world is looking so small. We are all together only on one platform, which is internet, which is online, Facebook, YouTube. And of course, I remember that Panorama has always given us the chance. The community organizations like Cancer Warrior, there are many, many there. And because that is, again, the place where we all get connected every year, with so many people, and where we can raise awareness about the great things. Thank you so much, Sumeeta, for that. And once again, congratulations to Panorama. Thank you.
No, thank you. I mean, Panorama is the community, right? Exactly. That's what we are. We represent the community organizations. The community is our customer. That's how I see it. We see it as a board. And exactly. Customers didn't fail us. They have come in droves to be part of it. I mean, to have 44 plus organizations all organizing between patriotic segment, cultural segment, the parade, all of it is the community. So 100% you're right. And to us, like what you mentioned, like Cancer Warrior last year, you guys did a phenomenal fashion show, but it wasn't that fashion show that meant a lot. Cancer is something that touches every one of us, and unfortunately now it's become where it's touched like somebody in your family. I mean, or someone. It is what it is. It's the reality of the world we're in. But you had families that are affected by this, or people who have successfully beat it, walking in that fashion show as part of our celebration last year meant a lot, because that's who we are. We're Indian. We have every aspect to us. There's our culture, there's our heritage, but then there is this, that touches us. And what you showed, that there's support out there, and you aren't alone. So it was beautiful what you guys did last year.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And today, actually, I would like to introduce to the viewers that Panorama, the festivals like Panorama, what they are to us here in Canada or in the world. So they are basically, they nurture the roots. I want to again tell it to the viewers that they nurture our roots. So today, that's why we have two beautiful youth here. And of course, as you know, Janvi is our host always, and the youth host. And today we have a guest youth who's Aksh actually and Janvi are brought to this show because of one reason, that they are born Indian, but they're Canadian. And Indo-Canadian youth, how these festivals like Panorama help and nurture the roots of these kids, of this youth, So again, Sumeeta, now we will actually ask these kids, this youth, I know they don't like when they are called kids anymore, but yes, for us, they are kids only. So this youth, I would like to ask, first question I would like to ask Aksh. So Aksh, what is the one thing that has kept you connected to your culture?
I think more than anything, it's family. Whether it be here or back in India, family has um, kept me connected. Whether it be through religion or through events like Panorama and Republic Day celebrations, or events like Diwali and Holi. All those things have been huge in our house as we grew up, and just also the language. At home, we always speak in Hindi, so just a combination of all these things has just kept the culture alive in me, and it's helped me appreciate it more as I grow up.
Great answer, because you know what, that we really want you guys to take it over further, this legacy, which your parents or your community festivals like Panorama, or everyone, you know what, it always says that, I always love the saying that raising the one child, it's a whole community, whole village puts the contribution into it, right? So Janvi, what do you say about this, honey? Because I know that you are so much into Indian things with the Canadian also. Whether it's a cricket match, whether it's Independence Day, you have been always very active. What are your thoughts, honey?
I mean, I would 100% agree with Aksh in terms of the points he raised. I think being connected through family has been just the one thing that's kind of instilled the fact that this is something that is important, so make it a priority. And I say that in the best way possible. I think I'm so grateful for my parents to raise me in a way where I am connected to my roots. There have been times when I've seen people who wish that they were more connected. I remember everyone always tells me the story that when I was 3 years old and I came here, one of my dad's friends was actually talking to me in Hindi, in Hindi, and I was responding in English. And that uncle was ignoring me. My dad's like, "Oh, she's asking you a question. Why are you not responding to her? Like, it's a little cute girl. Like, respond to her, right?" He's like, "Nahi, isko Hindi mein bolna chahiye." Translating that into, no, she needs to say it in Hindi because, she'll learn English at school. This is something that she won't learn at school. So, you kind of have to drill it. And it's great that I can talk in that language, and it's comforting. It's almost comforting to be able to connect to that language, living in a country where it's not the main language. So I think language for me was huge. Like you said, cricket, huge part. There's not a lot of girls that I know that watch cricket. are mildly interested in it, other than the fact to watch like Virat Kohli maybe take off his shirt once in a while during practice. Like it's like it's.
I know a lot of girls that love cricket, so I think you're great. I myself am not one of them, but that's across the board. I mean, I think Raptors is kind of what I watch, but I know lots of girls who love cricket, so that's
awesome.
amazing that you love that.
That's awesome. Yeah,
and I would like to add here, Sumeeta, you actually few years ago you were like this youth because you are not born here, but you are Canadian. You're brought up here. So same kind of values. I know your family too, right? So
yeah. Listen, I'll tell you my biggest thing. I'm most proud. So I'm Canadian Indian. I always say I'm first Canadian Indian. Why? I'm Canadian Indian. Why? Because I live in a country that wants me to celebrate my heritage and culture. Why? We are as Canadian and Indians so similar. Canada is a mosaic, but so is India. Where is a country like India where there are so many states and languages? Every state has its own language, its own culture, its own dialect, and yet they all blend together, they live together. And then it comes into Canada, which is a larger mosaic. I didn't know how to read and write Punjabi. I learned that here. Wow. And the school is paid for by the government. If you think about it, who didn't go to Punjabi school here on a Saturday or Hindi school on a Saturday? I mean, that was, when I did high school, that was one of my higher scores, okay? So it was great because the teachers were so awesome. But the point is, where do you get that? I know how to read Punjabi, I know how to write Punjabi because I learned it here.
Wow.
I think we are very lucky that here we are encouraged to celebrate. I think what you two are saying, your families, if you think about the way we live, right? Look at the way we walk. We don't even think twice we're Indian here. We just, it's part of who we are. We're Canadians, and we celebrate every culture here. That's what's beautiful about this country. We celebrate all the festivals. So I agree with you. I think we're very fortunate. We're lucky, and I hope Panorama can bring that to a lot of people.
I think you are bringing that enough because in your competitions, in your contest, all the contests, like all the kids, those young kids are participating. So, and of course, they know that every year they wait for this day or these 2 days, especially the Republic and the Independence Day, that yes, oh wow, Panorama is coming. What is that? It is the Republic Day or the Independence Day. So they're already learning about these values, our Indian roots they're connected with. So besides this, we'll come back to this discussion again with a youth guest. But I would like actually if you can give some kind of breakdown, to the event.
Sure, yeah. And you know what? I think we have a really nice video to show last year. Everybody gets a glimpse of what last year was like, and then we can talk about this year.
Mm-hmm.
सांसें खुलकर ली तरक्की हमने की हर एक पल छूने इंडिया गाता है मन वंदे मातरम वो आजादी के रंगों से हम दीप जलाए पैनोरामा के संग हम खुशियां मनाए वो मिलकर अपने देश की ऐसी शान बढ़ाए अपने बच्चों को भारत का इतिहास सुनाए मेरा भारत चाहे अब खुशहाली आए ये दुनिया देखे अपनी आजादी जहाँ सुंदर हर एहसास हो और बुझती हर एक प्यास हो ऐसा है मेरा देश हिंदुस्तान मेरे वतन तुझ पर फिदा हम सब का मन मेरा इंडिया हमारा इंडिया मेरा इंडिया हमारा इंडिया मेरा इंडिया पैनोरामा इंडिया हमारा इंडिया पैनोरामा इंडिया जय 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 हे
And I wanted to show that because it sends such like chills, it's just such nice memories. And so keeping that in mind, we have now translated that to a virtual experience.
Wow.
So you'll kind of see what we have, and when we're near the end, we'll show kind of what this year is about. So what we've done this year is starting today from 10th to the 14th, every day at 6:30 p.m., We have a live stream about the upcoming India Day weekend. We're showcasing for the first time ever some of the floats that people have been dying to see. What are the images? Some of the artists will be profiled. We have some interviews with community leaders as well. We also profile some of our past chairs. And the reason being is Panorama India is a volunteer organization. And it didn't last 21 years unless people were engaged and responsible and supported. So it's, for me, as a co-chair, it was really important that the past chairs were recognized for all their hard work that they've done to get us to 21 years. You'll get to see that between the 10th to the 14th. And then starts the weekend. And that's the big, big, big excitement. So 12 p.m. sharp, opening day ceremony will start. We will be sharing with you the multiple ways you can watch that, by the way, this year. At 12 p.m., we have opening day ceremony. Then following that, we have the patriotic segment. We have the virtual grand parade. So we had so much programming that it had to be in 2 days. That's how much we have this year. So we have the virtual grand parade part A and B. So a lot of people that are looking for their floats, there's both days that we're doing it. Following that, there's a cultural segment. And this is where I was telling you, all the organizations, the artists, the submissions. I mean, wait till you see some of these performances. We have Bollywood Dance School, which is put together and kind of ending to the cultural performance. And then at 6 p.m., it's Toronto Laughs with Sunil Grover. We are so excited about this. As you all know, he's so funny. He's a huge, I mean.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
So what he wanted to do was, he can do comedy, he can do singing, but his big thing was, he said, I want to do something original for Toronto. So what we had is we had a challenge. People had to submit, and then 4 people were chosen. And on the Saturday at 6 p.m. live, he's going to host a talk show where he talks to 4 Canadians about their experience here of India Day. So it's very different, original. I will tell you, in just tech rehearsal, he's so funny. Oh my God, I was laughing in just a tech rehearsal. So when he does it live, it is hilarious. So that's on 6 p.m. on Saturday. It'll go live. Then on Sunday, 12 p.m. again, we start. And 12 p.m., we have part B of the virtual parade. Now this year, the times of the virtual parade are very important. Why? For the first time ever, as you know, there's a big competition. Top 3 floats win every year. You know that because you guys are part of that competition last year, Navneet. This year, we have the top 3 floats, again, are going to win. We have our panel of 4 judges. And because we did a digital experience this year, we wanted to have judges who had understanding of a digital storyline. How do you depict it? So we actually have 4 amazing judges. We have Jake Deere, which, as everybody knows, runs a media house, has television experience, perfect person to view what digitally something has been presented. We have Lalita Krishnaji, who's an award-winning documentary director. She has several submissions in TIFF. Again, someone who understands and can understand what a digital submission should look like. Lata Pradaji, who is truly the pillar of community and culture in Toronto. And then, of course, Jasmine Savanji, who runs the Savitri Theatre. So runs her own theater, knows art, knows theater, knows how a storyline should be woven together. So you have 4 very good judges that'll do 50% of the scoring. And the other 50% for the first time ever is public voting. So we are, everybody gets to vote for their favorite parade float. So what's going to happen is on Saturday at 2 p.m. sharp, the site's going to open. You can go to www.panoramaindia.org. And on Sunday, 2:30 p.m., it's going to close. So the virtual parade runs till 2. You only have till 2:30 to submit your votes, because on 6 p.m. on Sunday, on Namaste Live, we're going to announce the winners live. So we won't know who they are. They will be announced on 6 p.m. So you can see it's a lot, because following the parade, we have patriotic segment, and then we have more cultural programming. So I'm thinking your whole weekend should be pretty busy.
Very busy. Right now, my mind is busy with the panorama things, like as you're mentioning, right?
And I'll tell you what's very different this year as well. Yes, we went digital, and yes, we went virtual. And we have our Facebook and YouTube. Of course, you watch it live on that, but we've taken it a step further. We have ATN, Y Media, PTC, all live streaming as well, the entire 2 days. On top of that, we have, I think, 12, maybe 14, and we'll be announcing them, IPTV channels that are also going to be live streaming. And we have a lot of our web partners. So, our big thing was, wherever you're most comfortable to watch, let's make it a fun experience. So not everybody watches online. My mom likes her TV. So this is our big thing is we try to make it that it's everyone is approachable and everyone can be involved in the weekend.
Yeah, it's on every platform actually.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Amazing. You know what, like really looking forward, Sumeeta. And I know this time we could not like do the fashion walk or anything like that. But of course, we are always there with Panorama, wherever you need us, wherever we can do something. And we are always thankful to these kind of organizations like Panorama to give us the platform or to give us the stage where we can also do something for the community. Not only to the Indians, but yeah, it's like everyone, everywhere. So now when it comes to the India again, so these beautiful guests of ours, the youth guest, Aksh, what do you miss the most about India?
So there's two big things that I miss. The first, and hands down, this will always be my answer. It's my family. So all my cousins, my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents. And the second big thing is the food,
Oh
the
my
street food.
God.
Yeah, that's the best part. That is such a good
Yeah,
part. Yeah.
yeah. So like just not even like restaurant food, just straight street food that you get. And yeah, those are the two big things, family and food.
Oh wow, that's great. F&F, family and
Oh yeah.
food. And that too, if people know or not, Aksh himself is a very good chef. He cuts the onions like even his mom and dad or no one can cut that. So fine. So, Janvi, I know that whom you miss, but still, I want you to answer this question because this is gonna go straight to someone.
Okay, what I miss? Let's just break it down from here. The airport smell. Delhi airport has a distinct smell, which you will not find in any other airport. It is the most disgusting yet beautiful smell.
Of course.
But yeah, no jokes apart. Who I miss the most? My nanny and nanu. Like every second of the day. They're so important to me. But again, like, I feel like with technology, it makes such a big difference. Like I could not imagine.
Now they went back.
They're in Delhi, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just and especially now with COVID, like it's so hard for them. So I think technology is a great way to be connected with people back home. Like if you're not being like, if you're, take 5 minutes out of your day to just, bring someone back home up, just to check in how they're doing, how is their day. I think right now it's so important just in the state that India is in. I mean, we're very, very lucky and touch wood, to be living in a country where we have the medical resources that we do and the government and the control that we've had with COVID. But in a country like India where there's so many different demographics, I think it's really important to check in on, our family's mental health and, just be there for them in the most smallest way possible. Like, hey, how's your day? Like, what'd you eat today? But yeah, that's the biggest, for me, that's the biggest thing.
It's Janvi, you said such a special and important thing. And especially today, just with a lot of things going on and, you're hearing every day of, you said very correctly, this is the time most than anything, even why we did this thing, at the end of the day, we could have just done something small, but it was like a stone that kept building. But that didn't happen because we wanted to. It told us people wanted something to celebrate. They wanted something to be excited about. And this is a time you're 100% right. Check in on people. Even people, just because you haven't heard from them and they appear on social media to be busy, I'm learning now, don't assume that. People are putting, images out there, but inside, what pandemic has done is that has made a lot of people step back. A lot of people's lives are going to change and they won't be changing back. For seniors, like my mom hasn't left the house, since this whole thing began, and they're still not comfortable, leaving the house. So making that normal, checking in, talking to them, you're so right. It's such a special thing you just said, especially parents, because a lot of parents went back just before pandemic.
Yeah.
And the grandparents were living here. And before the pandemic, they ended up going back, and now they can't, come back. Or is it safe for them to even get on a plane? So you're right, checking in, mental health, I think is more important than anything else right now. It's very nice what you just said.
Exactly. You know what? Like what that was my actually. Thank you guys. Both of you, that you are doing such a great job being, into your youth and maintaining everything what family taught you. So, but now we'll move on to some other direction again to Panorama, Sumita. Actually, that was my another question. That how have you adopted the event into the virtual event? And you just little bit touched base on that. So, what are the some challenges you faced as well? We would like to know, actually.
So I would say one is time. So I'll tell you that's been the hardest thing now because, before when we planned India Day, you could do a lot of planning, but then really the last month became busier. And as you know, we're all volunteers. And, with the pandemic, everyone's situations have changed. Everyone's kind of working double time, because of calls and having to be available. And then on top of that, because it went digital, and you can imagine when you're putting 12 plus hours of programming and you have 100 plus artists and 44 organizations, the incoming and outgoing of all the work was very different than it has been any time in the past. And I think the attention to detail, this time round is so much more important. Now, I will tell you this much. I am the luckiest person in the world because I have the most phenomenal board I work with. These are all volunteers. They're so passionate about what they do. They're working nights and day. I'm not even kidding. They work through all night. We have some vendors in India. So they're doing so much work that is happening all night and day. And if it's okay with you, I'd love to mention the directors because for me, my Panorama family, and this doesn't happen without them. So, I want to recognize, of course, my co-chairs, Mr. Sanjay Makkar, who's handling finance and sponsorship. Mr. Janak Vagnani is Executive Director for Sponsorship and Finance. And why I say sponsorship and finance first, again, we are a nonprofit organization. Everything we do is free. So we can only do events that are free when community leaders step up and help us financially. Despite the pandemic, we have sponsors that have stepped up and helped us financially to deliver such a large-scale event. So what I ask is, when people say, how do we help? Thank these people for partnering to support India Day celebration. They wanted to make India Day happen. So we ask you all to support the sponsors. Then we have, of course, Anuradha Tejpal, who is our Director of Digital Media and PR. We have Sumeeta Kohli, who's our Executive Director for Festivals. So Sumit used to handle the whole stage last few years. And now guess what? You have to change it all.
Wow.
And then we have Anusha Iyer, who's our Director of Programming. You don't just get 100 plus artists. We've been doing Namaste Live, as you know, since May. We've had a young artist. So you guys are talking about youth. We have 7, 10-year-olds that perform. And when I do when I go, when I do an introduction, I start reading the bio and it says, oh, I started performing at the age of 3. And I'm like, okay. I was like, wow. So we have young kids, to Panorama, we are tied to young kids. As you know, these are all past Idol winners. We've been doing Idol for 11 years, and we have kids category that perform in that. So I want to recognize Anusha Iyer for that as well, for all her hard work. Bedi Rao Bhagat, who handles the community relations. So you don't get a virtual India Day parade at 44 plus organizations. So you have a face that's dealing with these organizations. And Bedi has done a phenomenal job for all this representation we have coming in. So I want to recognize her, of course. And Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, who's been with the board for many years, and he handles vendor management. So this year, one of the things Sanjay did really well, that because of the pandemic, a lot of vendors, like food vendors, we are tied to the food industry, right? They're a big part of the festival. Food and hospitality has been hit the hardest, this year. I mean, so have other industries, of course, but I know that they've been hit very hard. And I know he's kept in touch with them. He's checked in on the vendors. We had tried on Namaste Live to recognize some of these vendors who are giving back to the community as well. So I really want to say, not only to the board, the volunteers, our social media team, nothing is possible and what we're doing without this board together. So I want to thank them for the hard work.
Very, very true, Subita. And you know what? Like, I know all these people because I was a part of Panorama too, and I know they're all very hardworking people, and they are very selfless. Very content people. Those actually are able to contribute for the community events, especially like Panorama. Congratulations, you have a wonderful team. So another question here, Sumita, we would again ask you about when these voting lines will be on, and for the parade, where they can find the information, and how can people vote for these floats, basically.
So number one thing, we are very active on social media, and our website is up to date. So please go to www.panoramaindia.org for the website. That's where all the voting will be done. But our social media is extremely active. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Everything is posted. If you even message us on there, they're very responsive and they're following up. The website again has all our contact details. So we do recommend that between all of these, even the contests, we talked about them earlier. We have 3 major contests running, and we have a daily trivia that just got posted today, every day. So all these contests, again, the submissions are Thursday, midnight, for you to be able to submit. So please make sure anything you do, go to the website to get details. And also our partners. So like you're our media partner. We have several media partners. So everything we're doing, we're sharing with you guys to share further. What we ask is, if there's a media partner that you love and you're comfortable with, go to them and get the information as well. We're trying to be as open. It's not our event, it's all of our event. That's why our tagline this year is Mera India, Hamara India.
Wow.
And that's what this event is about. It's, each of your emotions. Everybody has a different feeling about India, right? Mera India means something different to me. Like today, it meant something different to Aksh. It meant something different to Janvi and to you. But ultimately, it is all Hamara India. It blends into one big pot, and we celebrate India Day together. So that's really what our big thing has been.
Very amazing. You know what, Janvi, do you have something to say about it? Like Panorama and the kind of event they are bringing this year?
I personally, just Republic Day and Independence Day. I remember when I was little, we used to watch the parade in India that used to happen in Parliament Hill. And I remember every single time I'd watch it and our national anthem would come up. As wrong and as this may sound, the Indian national anthem always hits harder to me than our Canadian national anthem. And I don't know what it is. I really don't. But there's just something so powerful in that, just in the lyrics and in the delivery of our national anthem, that it's so captivating. So I think seeing something like this in Toronto is absolutely incredible.
Well, 12 p.m. on Saturday, we have the national anthem going live. We have a very special singer that's doing both. And we ask you guys to, stand with us. Like you said it with the national anthem. When we do India Day every year, and everybody will say, why do you guys do it? Why do you run around like that? When you're standing on that stage and that opening ceremony is happening and the anthem is singing and you look at the crowd and the flags are all waving and everybody's standing there, that moment is when we go, this is why we do it. It's so everyone can come together and celebrate. So I'm glad you said that. And I hope on Saturday, as everybody stands together and, is part of the opening ceremony, please, we ask you to be part of that national anthem.
Sure, we will be there. We will be with the entire team. We all will be watching and supporting and sharing for sure, and hooting by sitting in our house on our couches. We will definitely do that. So another question from Aksh. Aksh, actually, this is from both of you, from Janvi and Aksh both. Has there been a time where you felt a little disconnected from your roots? And if so, yes, how did you handle that, Aksh?
Not really disconnected, but a little further away from it. At school, both in high school and as well as at university, I'm one of very few Indians that are there. So it's not that I feel disconnected, it's just I feel further from it than when I'm at home or I'm with my family. And when it comes to dealing with it, I don't feel like it's threatened. So I don't feel there's necessarily a need for me to correct anything. But for sure that I feel further from it whether it was high
very
school
well
or
said,
university.
actually. You know what? Because Aksh has seen the schooling there in India. When he came here, I think he was in grade 2. And he has the great full memory, I think, about schooling there as well, right? It's a big transition. It is a really big transition. Yeah. Tell me what about that.
About
this.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with Aksh in terms of not disconnected. There was a time where I felt a little bit threatened. You know, for someone who speaks Hindi and Punjabi so fluently, I didn't really get an opportunity to learn how to like read or write it. And that's not a regret, but something that I wish that I had picked up at an earlier age. Um, in terms of dealing with it, I feel like I've accepted that, you know, you can't really know everything and do everything. To kind of embrace the things that you do know, and you know, it's never really too late to start learning something new. So learning how to read and write Punjabi, or at least one of the two languages, is something that's on my bucket list. My dad was actually showing me this email that he got from a Hotmail like mass email, and it was like in Hindi, and he was like, "Can you read this?" And I was like, "No, I can't." And that was like a trigger point where I was like, I should like learn to, you know, even if it doesn't work out, like at least I attempted to do that. So that's something that I kind of disconnected from. But in terms of handling it, I feel like right now, maybe in the future, I can kind of pick up like a for dummies course in Hindi.
You know what? You've given me an idea, and I think I should give this idea to Panorama India. Next time, Sumeeta, why don't you add this kind of contest, which is actually asking to write from like ka, kha, ga, and all that stuff, or writing some essay in the Hindi. You know, like we used to have in India. Okay, so who's gonna write the best essay on maybe Independence Day or maybe Republic Day? You know, that's going to encourage many kids and families and parents to actually train them. You know,
that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea, and I will definitely share it with the consulate as well, because they're always putting out great contests.
Of course, and this is, I think, we're gonna encourage our parents. You know, because what we do as parents, like we give up. Okay, they're going to school, they'll learn what the school is teaching. You know, when it comes to Hindi, then kids say, "Oh no, I don't want to learn, mommy, because I tried." Right? Aksh knows how to write and read Hindi because we kind of like gave him all the time books. But his younger brother does not know even A about it, right? So we gave up.
Well, they have here. So depending on which city you live in, like Milton, Brampton, they have Hindi school, Punjabi school. That's what is phenomenal about this country. It's all available, and I don't think anything has a cost to it.
No, and you get credit for it. If you take
I know. In my time, there used to be OAC, okay? And OAC used to be what got you into university. And one of my OAC credits was Punjabi, okay?
So you know Punjabi very well. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the reading and writing, again, was because I came here, and that's when I went, because it used to be Saturday, 9 to 12, every week. And again, it's available to you, and you just have to register your kids, and you have to get the time to take them,
exactly.
Of course. But you can do Punjabi, you can do Hindi. There's so many languages available for you to be able to do it.
Yeah. So now another question, actually, Sumeeta, very important, that what all platforms this is you're broadcasting, or the live is coming, or your festival is happening. Would you just tell it to our viewers, because this is really important that they will be in touch with it?
Yeah. So like we said, this year, it's you know, we're really excited to say it's on multiple platforms. So it is on ATN live stream. PTC is doing a live stream. Y Media is doing a live stream. On top of that, we have about 12, if not 14 IPTV channels as well. We're going to be posting all of that on social media. So all these channels are doing live stream. And then a lot of our media partners have said, let us know, and we will do the live stream as well. So we are going to try and put that all out to everybody, all the stations, the channels. So that way, 12 to 7, both days, you can watch on, you know, whichever channel is most suitable to you. That was our big thing. And of course, Facebook and YouTube for Panorama India is, of course, doing the live stream as well. So, I mean, I think between all of this, we try to get everything covered, that hopefully nothing is missed, where someone can watch India Day together.
Perfectly said. And because you mentioned this before also, but as you know, what human brain needs the reminders all the time.
Yes. Yeah, so, well, listen, and I think, you know, there's a lot of information, because it is true with the event this year, there's actually a lot of information. You know, before it would be a one-day event. You would go there and you would see everything. Now, because there's so much happening, there is a lot, and you can see between this team and the brain and everybody kind of going. We've really tried to make sure that the audience engagement is at the max we could do this year. So we really between, the parade voting, to be able to watch it on multiple channels, to be able to participate with Mr. Sunil Grover, all the artists, like nothing is, we haven't done it. It's people performing who are participating. So we've tried our best to engage all these people through this celebration this year.
No, I'm so proud of you. And you know what? Again, see, I Am Powered is already feeling empowered, to be part of Panorama, because we as Cancer Warrior were able to raise awareness on these kind of platforms. And one of the biggest platform is Panorama. We did it last year. Again, we are there. And again, actually, you know what? I would like to thank the people, those who started Panorama from their roots, where the Panorama roots were there, all the chairs and all the team, we would like to congratulate once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think the biggest thing we asked this year, we've been asking all the audience is, when you watch a show, so all these artists give their time, their creativity to do something. When they're on a stage, they get to hear claps, and that's their way to know people love them. This year, instead of claps, we ask you to show love by posting messages.
Yes.
So if you see an artist, please share a message. It means the world to these people. If you see a float that you love, that's encouragement. So this year, instead of claps, your messages will mean the world. We ask you to, if there's somebody you love who's participating, put it out there. We actually have on our Facebook, we're going to have what you call, the viral stickers, where you can say, I'm proud to be performing in India Day this weekend. So you can make sure your family is watching you. So that's what we ask. If you want to be involved, people are saying, what can I do? Share the love. Share your love for these artists. And by messages is the best way we can ask you to share it.
And this I Am Powered usually does not bring all these kind of promotional things, but because this is a different platform, but this was not the promotional festival for Toronto or for Canada. Why I brought these two young hosts, or like our young host and this youth guest, because I really wanted to show this to the parents or the families, that how Panorama is connected to us and how much it adds value to our families and to our kids.
Yes, I'm really glad you did that, and I'm glad you said that. We proudly do Indian Idol, for example. Here's a really good story. Yes. Everybody knows Sumeeta Kohli. She's going to be making an appearance. But 11 years ago, 10 years ago, she was a performer in the Panorama Idol competition here. We've done that competition for 11 years, and what's amazing about the Idol, the whole reason we do the Idol competition is because there's so many young people who come out and perform, and it's a way to connect. And what's amazing over the years is those kids have grown up, and some of them are running dance schools, singing schools. They're now teachers. Some of them are like Sumeeta Kohli, who's making a name, in Bollywood. So we are so proud of these artists. Namaste Live, we've been showcasing them every 2 weeks for the last, I think 4 months now.
Yeah.
And at the same time, when you watch this weekend, you will see so many young people and kids in such creative ways that they're part of the programming. And, that is all a parent saying, hey, my kid wants to do this.
Exactly.
Or, so please, we ask you to join and be part of it this weekend with all of us.
Sure. Very last question from our youth team today, that what advice would you like to give, to all those parents, actually those who feel that it's very hard connecting their kids with their roots, not only like, having them chat to their grandparents in India, or not only having them call there or talking about India. So what advice would you like to give?
So I think, listen, you want to connect your kids to root. They have, you have to take that first step. That's what I believe. I think we are in a country. Where else do you live in a country that's telling you to celebrate your culture and your heritage, and it wants you to define it? So that platform is there, right? You have a government that's giving you classes so you can learn your language. You have so many dance schools here, tabla school, dance school, singing school. There's not a school available that promotes our, heritage and culture. We've, a lot of them have been part of Panorama India. A lot of them provide performances. What I recognize, again, and a lot of it is virtual. So even during the pandemic, everyone's like, oh, right now it's a pandemic. Do you know how much is available virtually? So many schools are doing classes virtually. So I think the choice is yours. I think, of course, it's the interest, but I think as the kids see the parents, kind of show that they're part of it. Watching something like India Day and watching other kids do something, makes them say, like, we've had this before, where kids in the past have attended India Day, they saw something next year, the parents are like, my kid's been learning this for a year now, can they submit a performance? And we're like, yeah, I mean, that's what we are here for. So I think it goes back to, ultimately, it's a decision you have to make. The options are all there. And so many of them don't even have a cost involved. It's just time. It's just an allocation of what time you want to spend. And I think it begins at home too. Like, I speak Hindi. We speak Punjabi, right?
Yeah.
It's how you speak, what you're doing at home, what you're doing outside. Like, I know my sister's trying with my nieces, right, to speak more and more in the language. I think we're lucky. If you know multiple languages, how lucky are you? We're in a global world now. You need to know multiple languages, cultures, understanding. You don't do just business in Toronto. I do business, you do business all over the world. So it's great to know all of this.
I think there's power in language. Like, there's so much power in language. And I think sometimes we underestimate that in terms of, like, just being able to communicate through the different languages and just kind of building that network and connection of people. I think right now that's so important. Like, I remember one of my professors at school was like, your most important thing in undergrad is the connections that you make. And I think that's something that's, like, is valuable in life entirely, in terms of, making connections. And what better way to do that is through different people. And, sometimes talking to someone in Hindi, if that's a mutual language, can take it a step further, because, it's like common playing ground, and they understand that, like, you're making the effort, and they recognize that. Because I've heard a lot of people say that, like, we speak Hindi really well, and it's like, thank you, but, like, I would like to see that in more kids.
Exactly.
I would really like to see that in more kids.
What are your thoughts, Aksh, on this?
I completely agree. I think the whole
parents.
language thing is super important. And another thing is, yes, as much as the parents should start, the kids should also see that they should also be giving some effort back.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is very important, that yelling will get nowhere. It's important to sit the kids down and discuss why the culture is important and why it's important to stay connected.
Right.
Because I forget where, but I heard something, and it's, as soon as you yell at someone, their mind instantly turns off, and they're not listening anymore. There's just a brick wall. And it's not just you; it's common among every human. So instead of yelling, having a calm, collected, composed, mature conversation is really important.
Very nice. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. Now, I think, Sumeeta, it's a time before we leave and before we finish this show, we would like to actually see something more about Panorama. So, Janvi, are we ready, honey?
Yep.
हिंदुस्तान मेरे वतन तुझ पर फिदा हम सब का मन मेरा इंडिया हमारा इंडिया मेरा इंडिया हमारा इंडिया मेरा इंडिया पैनोरामा इंडिया हमारा इंडिया पैनोरामा इंडिया जय 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 हे
Wow. That is amazing, Sumeeta. This is like, oh my God. You have done a lot of work actually for this festival. I can see that.
We've actually built, for the first time, we built a framework that we hope continues for the future generations. So we've actually built an anthem, as you can see, for the first time ever for Panorama India celebrating India Day. We have a tagline, Mera India, Hamara India, which is a big part of this year. So even the whole concept of how do we bring it all together, and as we do Namaste Live, and we're doing all these things, what we're trying to do, and has just, like we spoke today, youth and generations, is really build this for the framework so it continues in the future. The whole reason we started Namaste Live back in May and now India Day, we have so many amazing young talented artists And because of the COVID and pandemic, everybody kind of got stuck at home and they weren't able to put them outside. So all Panorama is most proud is we are a platform. That's what we are. We're a platform that brings everybody together. And we've tried our best through everything that we're doing now to this new India Day, what I call new normal India Day, is to hopefully showcase something for the future, right? Because, hey, maybe next year there's a version of in-person and digital. Like, that's what we built. We built a new way to move forward.
So can you just repeat again, like remind our viewers again, like about the dates, days, and all the timings, please?
So starting today till Friday, 10th to 14th, 6:30 p.m., every evening go live on Panorama India about programming, sneak peeks, what's coming. You will be able to see all of that. Then starting 12 p.m. sharp on Saturday, opening ceremony with the official, our anthem going live at 12. And then following that, we have the parade, the patriotic segment, cultural segment. 6 p.m. sharp, Sunil Grover goes live. Very important. And then on Sunday, 12 p.m. again, we begin. Second part to everything. So the programming, the parade. And then at 6 p.m. sharp on Namaste Live, you will be able to see the winners announced for the parade, all the contest winners, and some other special surprises. And a reminder to everybody to be able to watch ATN, PTC, Y Media, and then we have almost 12 to 14 IPTV channels. And then, of course, our media partners out there now also. So check in with everybody who's doing a live stream. We will be sharing everything on Facebook and our website. Don't forget to vote. It opens at 2 p.m. on Saturday, closes at 2:30 p.m. on Sunday. So get your votes in for which is your favorite float. Show them support.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we really, really wish you a lot of luck. And of course, we hope that this virtual year of the COVID special year actually will bring a lot of success to the festival like Panorama and of course to Panorama, because many things are happening, many celebrities are coming, and it's very empowering for whole South Asian community and kids and of course Canada. Thank you so much, Panorama. Thank you. And thank you our kids, youth, for being here, today.
They were great. They were so good. They were great.
I think it's only fitting if we close this off with all four of us saying Jai Hind at the same time.
Sure.
Ready?
Sure.
3,
do that.
2, 1. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.